It's Sunday. We are going to talk about a very important clip from Larry Fink's or BlackRock's Larry Fink about inflation. And we're going to be reading between the lines here because, as always, I like you guys to use critical thinking. We like to pay attention to what big money is doing. We take that information, we do our own due diligence, and we apply it to our own trading and investing strategy. I always want you guys to hear what I say, but listen to yourself. And that's exactly what it means. So we're going to cover the crypto markets because that's what we do. We're going to talk about some of the weekly closes and whatnot. Also, too, it looks like, and again, this is not financial advice, and I do have a bag, but it looks like the avalanche ecosystem is starting to pick up a little bit, meaning that there's some coin, like meme coins and all that type of stuff are starting to pop off. Again, play with meme coins, have as much fun as you want, but understand there's going to be somebody on the other side that knows better than you, and you're probably going to absolutely get wrecked. That's just the way that these meme coins are going now. In 2020, 2021, you used to be able to trade a lot of the DeFi, the meme coins, and whatever it was on Ethereum, and you were able to hold these for a longer time period and do well. Like now you have to be in and out super fast. So it's really volatile, but if you guys want to start paying attention to the avalanche ecosystem, that's kind of what's happening over there. Just some food for thought, but be careful. I know you're probably going to get wrecked. So I had to say it. Good morning to our channel members, to Mr. R, and to Sparkwater. Thank you guys for being here. And as always, if you're new here, thank you for joining me. Make sure to smash a like, subscribe with alert set so you get more, and always drop me a comment. I was in Hollywood last night, so I'll tell you about my time there after we go through all this stuff. But let's go ahead and listen to these clip from Larry Fink, and then we're going to listen to another clip from Mr. Tom Lee. Why did I say Tom Jones? I don't know. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. This is what the market's currently looking like, which is great, fine, fantastic. But we do need to hear what Mr. Larry Fink is talking about, okay? So we're going to go ahead and put this on 2x speed because you guys know I got that ADHD over there, and we got to hear it. Okay, let's go.
The United States is shaking up, I would say, the foundation of globalization, shaking up how we work together with allies. We are trying to, and I wrote about this. We need globalization 2.0. Globalization worked for those who have savings, who invested. Globalization lifted more human beings than any time in the history of human beings over the last 25 years. More human beings were lifted to the middle class than any other time. That being said, many segments of society have been left behind. And if you go back to 2014-15, when you started having talks about Brexit, and you ultimately had Brexit, and you had rising populism in many countries, and that is a direct result of globalization worked for the entire world. It did not work for many segments. And I think those segments were left behind. And globalization 2.2, and I think this is a fair assessment, we need to broaden the economies to make it work, working it for more. And so that's the conversation I'm having with leaders. My conversations in Europe are very different than my conversations I'm having here. I mean, it's true, and I wrote about it. First conversation you have with everybody is, what's going on? Where are tariffs going? And I know as much as anybody else on that. But I would say the biggest thing that we are missing here in the United States is the inflationary backdrop that if the tariffs are instituted over the next 5 months, I think we're going to see very elevated inflation. Recent economic activity showing that there's a weakening. And the weakening is occurring because there's more and more uncertainty.
Okay, so the key thing here, he's talking about globalization and people that get left behind, yada, 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 yada. But most importantly, he's talking about inflation could spike in the next 5 months if tariffs take effect. Mr. Fink, with all due respect, we are already in a period with very, very high inflation, okay? A lot of inflation going on, and a lot of people are struggling, okay? And remember, Powell said inflation is transitory. He's 100% correct. Inflation is transitory, but the cost of goods and services, once they are increased, those generally don't go down, okay? So we're already in a high period of inflation, okay? Next 5 months, and again, we're still in this really weird tariff trade war thing that's going on right now. And again, we've talked about this on the show multiple times. I'm going to remind you again, the markets are moving based off of the tariff announcements because it's a huge geopolitical, like global thing that's happening. It's impacting everyone because America is full of consumers, okay? Now, with that being said, what will this do? What will higher levels of inflation, higher levels of costs and goods, what will that do? What will that do to the crypto markets? Will it pump the crypto markets? Will it dump the crypto markets? Well, if we take a step back, Bitcoin was created for the people, by the people in 2008 because of the housing crisis, the housing drop, the crash, everything. And it was created to combat inflation. It was created to essentially allow people to own their own money and opt out of the insanity that's happening with the public servants or the craziness that they created. Powell. Now, that being said, will Bitcoin pump or will it dump? I personally think that Bitcoin will continue to thrive at its own pace. Some cryptos will continue to thrive at their own pace because, again, with crypto, we can fully access DeFi. We can access a lot of these DeFi ecosystems and we can do what we want to do with our money. Okay. Now let's go and listen to this clip from Mr. Tom. Okay. Mr. Tom over here. We got to do 2 times speed because you guys know I got crazy ADHD.
Meaning there's a lot more potential buyers of Bitcoin over the next 10 years. And so I think there's a lot of upside into your end.
Into your like 150 target.
Yeah, 150, maybe 200, even 250 this year.
What? 150
Tom Lee is calling for 100 to 150, $250,000 Bitcoin this year. This is just 2025. I personally believe with all the solid foundation that's being built, we're in this weird super cycle thing. But hold up.
200 to even 250. And what's you don't have a terminal price on that, do you?
Well, it's I think at a minimum it should have the same network value as gold. And if you look at above ground gold, it's probably 23 trillion. So that would be 1.2 million for Bitcoin. But I think Bitcoin is more valuable than gold. So gold, Bitcoin would be 2.
So he's going off the estimate that Bitcoin will hit 3 million per coin, based in that off of gold's coin market cap. At the current market cap of gold, he says that Bitcoin should be worth, if that happens, Bitcoin should be worth $1.2 million. But he believes that Bitcoin is more valuable than gold, so it should be $1.8 million more, 3 million per coin.
2 million, 3 million long term. I mean, even higher.
Okay.
And again, gold has always been a historic asset that people use to hedge against inflation, a store of wealth.
Thank you. And we're talking years, obviously, but 95% mine. I don't think the last one is mine till what, 2150 or something.
Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what decimal you want to use, it's probably like 2040 or something. But yeah, but it's if you're having something forever, it'll always.
What's your terminal value?
That's what we just.
Yeah, I mean,
final.
He said 2.5 million.
2.5 million at the end.
Yeah.
Or maybe higher.
Maybe even higher.
Yeah. At that point.
Yeah.
All right, so now they're just kind of talking about, money and the price or whatever. And then I wanted to show you guys this chart here. This is from bar chart, and it is U.S. home price history from 1890, sorry, dyslexia, to 2025. And it's kind of showing what's going on, the 2006 bubble, and apparently 2025, we are in a bubble. And if this ends up repeating in the next 2 years, we will have a housing crash. If that does exactly what happened in 2006, if we mimic that, if we look at fractals. So that is something to focus on here. Also, it's very interesting to me that JP Morgan created a partnership with BlackRock to accept the Bitcoin spot ETF IBIT as collateral for loan collateral. So you can, if you own that, you can essentially use that to get a loan and maybe buy a house or whatnot. I just kind of wanted to bring that up. But this is where we're at. So if history repeats itself, we should be having a housing crisis in the next 2 years, or currently maybe we're starting to see one. That's what's happening there. Also, too, I do want to remind you guys, Binance offers, they have incredible resources and tools when it comes to learning the basics of trading and investing. And the reason why I want to bring this to your attention is you should be paying attention to Binance, to Investopedia, to these types of articles that provide you free information so you can educate yourself. You don't have to be a full-time trader, but it's good to understand what bullish means, what bearish means, support and resistant and whatnot, okay? Because let's say, for example, you're somebody who dollar cost average, okay? You're somebody who dollar cost average, and you're not actively trading and you're not looking at the markets. But you start to understand what these terms mean. And let's say there's an asset that you like and you buy that dip because you're able to understand the trend of the market based off reading, some of these really cool free articles from Binance. So again, I'm not telling y'all to day trade. I'm not telling you to do any of that stuff. However, if you want to, I've got a ref link for stuff down below. If you guys are interested, you can check it out. But anyways, I'm just telling you, it's good to understand the basics of trading. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at the market. And I want your guys's take, what you think is going to happen. Do you think the next 5 months we're going to see crypto and Bitcoin pumped based off of the tariffs, the inflation, the uncertainty? So on the weekly, we've got SPX and memecoin is up, AB is up. We're kind of, not a whole lot of gains. White is down 45%. Now taking a look at the daily, ICP is up. Fartcoin, of course, is up. XRP is up 5%. Congratulations. PP is up. Nothing too terribly exciting over here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. This is our Bitcoin chart. And the reason why I've got Bollinger Bands on here is because I was on Newsmax and they wanted, we were talking about Bollinger Bands a little bit. So let's go ahead and remove our drawings. Of course, we've got market CIPHER on. Let's take a look at the weekly. Okay. So this is our weekly chart with Bollinger Bands. I'm going to remove these, but we do have great support here. $94,000, a bottom of about $75,000, which I don't necessarily think that we're going to be seeing that, but that's bottom over here. But one of the things I will say that's interesting with the Bollinger Bands SMA is that we're in it's showing me that we're in a bullish because it's just pointed upward, this is bullish to me. It's not bearish. If it was pointed downward, it would indicate price can go down. But we've got great support here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and remove these, and we're going to do naked chart. So right now, Bitcoin, we had a really nasty swing wick low to about $100,000, and this was essentially the Trump and Elon fight. If you take a look at this chart over here, this will show you exactly what happened, what day it happened. It happened on and around 6.5. We dropped all the way down to like $100,000, and then we popped up to about back to 105. It was essentially the dip was bought up because people are just like over it, in my personal opinion. Anyways, though, when we take a look at the weekly, we had the swing wick low to about $100,000. We opened at 105, and we're currently trading like we're not trading too much higher, like 105. We've just kind of been going sideways. Okay. And again, last week, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green candles. So of course you got to get a little bit of a dip. Of course. I do want to take a minute to go to the monthly over here. So far on the monthly, we have 1, 2, 3 green candles. And do we just have to close above 104,000? And I think that could be doable. I think that could be doable. So this looks good. It looks like we created a local bottom at 82 on the monthly. But anyways, taking a look at what's happening, I feel like we're just going to continue to go sideways. Really going to continue to go sideways. And it is important that we close above that we do close above 104,000 at minimum. Really, I would like to get back above 106 so we can continue upward, but I'll take it. Now, taking a look at the daily's looking a little bit more bullish. We're just really trying to get back above close above 105. That would be nice, but really 106. So we'll see where we close today, but right now we're looking pretty good. Taking a look at the 4 hours looking nice as well. However, if we want to talk about a bearish scenario would be closing really below, and not really super bearish, but just a little bit bearish, below like 105. Okay, 105. And this is my big chart over here that I like to use because I just think it's a good representation of the market. This just kind of shows you the important levels over here. So really 102,000, just as long as we close above it, we're good. Now Ethereum is just kind of doing its thing. Really kind of doing its thing. Had a really crazy wick on the weekly. So Ethereum will probably close around $2,600. Taking a look at the daily, we did break down below our support here at 2,500. But again, I do believe this could have been caused with the Musk Trump thing. We're trying to get back above, and it's important we get back above 2,500. If not, we will consolidate between 25 and about, I would say, 24 over here. Taking a look at Solana is doing nicely and is trying to retest and flip at 156. So hopefully we get that done today, but we'll see. Either way, just as long as support holds at 146 to about a range between 146 and 157, great. Sui over here is trying to reclaim 333. If we get a bullish weekly close with Bitcoin, we should be able to. Now, XRP had pumped 5% today. I'm not exactly sure why, but congratulations to the XRP army. We finally, we got above the trend line over here at about $2.15, and then we broke above resistance at 223, and we were trading at 229. So this is actually nice and bullish. Hopefully we're able to continue to consolidate between 223 and 240, and we don't back test against a trend line. We're able to flip 240 eventually. Link is traded nicely between our range at $13 and about $14.81. No other commentary there. Market Cipher printed that little bottom. Cardano is trying to flip back above 65 and trade between 65 and 71. That's a important area right there I'd like to see, and then hopefully get back above 76. Bearish would be to trade between 66 and about 61 cents. HBAR is also doing very nicely, holding support between 15 and about 17 cents over here. As far as the entire crypto market cap, we are sitting above $3.23 trillion, and we hit a total crypto market cap of 3.28. So that's where we're trading now. So other than that, the markets are just kind of doing their thing. They're kind of doing their thing. I'm not really concerned about it. All I'm doing is I'm holding on to my Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does drop below 100,000, I will probably accumulate more. I possibly will accumulate more. But I'm just looking at, the coins that I'm looking at. And I actually had a couple conversations with people last night when I was out. I went to the Viper Room to see some friends play. It was super cool, super fun. But I talked to a couple people that knew about crypto. They're like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I know that there was a kookiness happening in LA, but you all know that I don't care. I'm born and raised here, so you stay away from that type of stuff. Anyways, but I told people to really kind of focus on stuff that's made in the USA, stuff that will get turned into ETFs, and figure out what makes sense for them. So I feel that you guys should also, you pay attention to that list. It's on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. Super easy to do, But other than that, I'm just really kind of focusing on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to be the star of the cycle. Yes, altcoins will pump, I believe. They're going to have their own little altcoin season. But at the end of the day, pay attention to what people like Larry Fink's BlackRock are saying and what they are doing. And you will do incredibly well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I might post a short for you later, kind of giving a recap of the market if there's any type of volatility, but have a wonderful weekend. Spend it with your families. Enjoy some sun. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Bye-bye.